Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Monday, August 8th, 2022, and you're listening to episode 144 of the Can I Say Something podcast. I'm your host and a recluse with a juicy caboose, Damian. Joining me today is...
Derick McDuff.
On today's show, we'll be discussing, with spoilers for everything involved, what we've been watching, including Fire of Love, In the Mouth of Madness, the Fear Street Trilogy, and much, much more. Right into the show, bicycle@gmail.com, bicycle on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend, family member, or stranger. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm feeling good. The day this is gonna drop is my birthday, so I'm excited. You know, that's why, a little peek behind the curtain for the listeners, but we're recording this very early because I will be on vacation and getting very drunk when this episode comes out. So
Nice. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to be 33, correct? You mentioned that the other day.
33. So yeah, that's I mean, I was about to say that's a big one. No, it's not. It's just a fucking random ass year. Although that's as long as Jesus lived, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of random, like I'm almost Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know if you know any carpentry or anything about that. You don't know any carpentry? No? Okay.
My dad was an architect. I don't know. That's something.
That is something. Yeah, you're 33, so you got one more year. Like we were saying, I think it was in the last episode, we were talking about the demographics, the age demographics that companies like to cater to. So you got one more year, and then you're going to be grumpy old grandpa, just like me, hating all the Marvel stuff.
I'll be right there, and I'll be like, where's Clint Eastwood at?
Exactly. So speaking of pop culture news and things like that, there's an interesting thing going on with Stranger Things because they're talking about edits they're making supposedly in early episodes. Somebody on TikTok noticed this and put it out there, and now the writers have had to respond to it. And basically, there's this article on Screen Rant. They said the writers for Stranger Things debunk claims that an early episode of the show was edited. First released in 2016 on Netflix, the Duffer Brothers horror fantasy, blah, 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 blah. Some eagle-eyed fans pointed out that they have forgotten Will's birthday. That was something. And now the Duffer Brothers said they're going to re-edit portions of the early seasons to make the birthday different. So that's the first thing they're going to do, because they never one of the episodes in season 4 took place on his birthday and nobody mentioned it. So it's like, well, that's normal. That seems like a thing that would happen to a kid. People don't remember his birthday because it's fucking
I just
Stranger
brought up
Things.
my birthday because I didn't know if anybody was going to remember it right now. So.
Yeah, it happens. It's just a thing that does happen, so there's no reason to go back and edit that. But another thing they've mentioned that they've edited was in season 1 when Jonathan was taking pictures of Nancy as she got dressed. So now apparently, I didn't actually look at the clip myself, but apparently they've sort of shortened it up to make it less pervy. What do you think about that?
Did they say, because they said they didn't do it, right? They said that was false, right?
Yeah, they said the writers reported that no previous seasons have been edited, nor will they be. So they said they haven't, but then I don't know where the first post was. The new tweet from the show's writers not only confirms that reports regarding edits made to previous seasons of the show are false, okay, but also seemingly establishes that the Duffer Brothers either had a change of heart in terms of the desire to go back and edit things, or that they were never serious about doing it in the first place. So who knows? Maybe it was just a weird viral thing. The thing that went viral, somebody doctored it.
Seems like one of those things somebody gets reported on and it gets blown up, or somebody makes something up. It's like the Ocarina of Time thing where somebody said you could get the Triforce, and for years people believed it, and it's just one of those things I feel like people made up, and then it finally got to the Duffers and it got big enough, and then they were just like, nope, this is nothing. This story is bullshit.
It's not even a thing. Yeah, you could probably lash onto that whole thing of like the Mandela effect, where people will seemingly remember a thing as being something else, and then they'll go back and show a commercial from the 80s and show that like the Fruit of the Loom didn't have that thing in the background, or things like that.
Yeah, like I was watching fucking Back to the Future with Alan from my other show, and we are both huge Back to the Future fans, especially him. And there's like a scene where Doc like blows a kiss like to Marty. He goes "Mwah," like when Marty goes and drives off, and like that was just not in either of our memories. And we looked at each
Yeah.
other. And we're like, oh, what? Did they add this or something? And I went home and like because I was seeing it in like a theater. I was like, this must have been some weird cut. And then like I watched, booted up, and Netflix it was there, and I was like, oh, cool. And then I got on my DVDs and it was there too. I was like, I just didn't remember it, and neither did he. So there's just weird shit like people want to be like, oh, well, it's the Mandela effect, and they're changing things, and it's just like, no, just fucking human memory is bad. That's what it is.
Yeah, human memory is very bad. It's a notorious. It's a bad thing to use in court because human, like you said, human memory is bad, eyesight's bad, recounting things is bad. Just bringing it back to movies, Tom Cruise in Risky Business, people thought he was wearing glasses. I think either people thought he was wearing glasses or he wasn't. But either way, people remembered it wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I know there's a few other examples, but I just can't think of any right now. But yeah, it was just a very weird thing. So that apparently was not any of that. Somebody just went viral with some random claim, and apparently it's not true. So there we go. We figured it out.
Yeah.
For everyone listening.
We solved the case.
We solved the case. We cracked it. Those meddling children. If it wasn't for us, they would have gotten away with it. So moving on, the Kang Dynasty. Before last episode, we talked about all the live announcements made at Comic-Con by Kevin Feige and the Marvel Cinematic Universe exploding. All the announcements there. Apparently, after the announcements, a separate announcement was made about the casting. The director for the new Avengers, Kang Dynasty, was found, and it is going to be the Shang-Chi director, Dustin Daniel Cretton. What do you think about this?
So yeah, that was what I was saying last week. Marvel kind of does this where they find a guy to, they have a bunch of different directors, and then they, find a person to be their kind of shepherd and to kind of take in. They're like, it was the Russos who got kind of plucked from Captain America, and they were like, okay, these guys are going to be the ones leading us for the Avengers, and now it seems that the same thing has happened with Shang-Chi. This guy is going to be kind of the new person. Before it was the Russos, of course, it was famous fucking creep Joss Whedon. So yeah, he was kind of like the guy who did the first two Avengers and all the things that were the guy who kind of Kevin Feige is obviously the big head honcho of Marvel, but the more kind of like boots on the ground general of the Marvel movies, and it seems to be this guy who's going to be kind of the one heading forward. Dustin David Cretton, right? I can never pronounce.
Dustin was a weird name. Not Dustin. Dustin Daniel Cretton. Daniel Cretton. Yep, something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. 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 Cool. I mean, I liked Shang-Chi a lot. It was one of my, except for the ending, it felt a little bit, just kind of samey. But some real emotional beats, and worked very well in the Marvel style. I will say. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, definitely. He did, like you said, definitely hit those emotional beats, got the action right. It'll be interesting to see, that I think that worked really well because seemingly was, doing all of his own stunts, maybe not all of them, most of them. So it takes, it's going to be interesting to see if, what kind of a cast we're going to have. Is this going to be, young Avengers? Is this going to be, these new Avengers? Whatever they have going forward, I'm wondering. And maybe
I feel like Shang-Chi is going to be there for sure.
Definitely Shang-Chi.
That's one thing I'm very confident in.
Yeah, Shang-Chi's going to be there, but also, is it like you said, the worst parts of Shang-Chi for you, and I agree with you, is the the ending, the big bombastic shooty bangy fighty stuff. That's not the strongest stuff, and unfortunately, the ensemble movies are unfortunately that's what people come here for. That's what puts butts in seats, is the bangy shooty fighty stuff. So yeah, well, hopefully they'll figure that out.
There's a way to do that with it being emotional and impactful, like the big finale of Endgame and Infinity War, and a lot of those movies were really, really emotionally poignant. And I think Shang-Chi was up until the point where his dad died. Then it was just like, there's a dragon and a dweller in darkness. So, hopefully they can find that balance, and not make it just as a big sky battle and a blue laser's gonna shoot into the sky and turn the city into lizards.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then one more article about the MCU. They've announced some other stuff after San Diego Comic Con. Let's see, article from comicbook.com, comic book resource, is saying, quote, there may be much more to reveal. Well, of course, there will be. Let's see. Avengers Secret Wars, November 2025. They announced the director again. But they still saying, just mentioned that the sixth Avenger title is still looking for a director. Huge, ambitious stuff. Trying to find out what they actually announced here. Maybe it was just a clickbait article that I got suckered into, apparently, because it was just like, yeah.
I don't know if, yeah, CBR, like they're not Deadline, I'll just say that.
Yeah. So
they're
just
not
saying,
THR.
yeah, just so in the article, it's just like Feige did not reveal much about Deadpool 3, only expressing his excitement for it to transfer from Fox to Disney. That's going to be an interesting thing. You know, they have a lot of space in Phase 6, definitely. With right now, right this moment, August 1st and the 2nd, they haven't really announced much for Phase 6, just the two ensemble movies and what was the other one? Oh, Fantastic Four. So there's a lot of room in there from the put stuff like that with Deadpool 3, X-Men stuff. They had an interesting discussion the other day. I think it was on Slash Film about how, you know, if you think about the MCU, it's not the Avengers cinematic universe, it's Marvel cinematic universe. So they were saying how the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars could be the pivot point at which we sort of move away from the Avengers being the focal point of the MCU, because they could in fact, you know, sort of not retire, but move aside some of the core actors. They're getting older. They've done this for a long time. All these actors want to do different things. So that could be a point at which you sort of say, okay, we've had these actors for, that would be at that point, you know, 15, 16 years. So now let's not only shift away from the actors, but shift away from the Avengers to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. What do you think about that?
That makes, I feel like they kind of already did that, you know, with Endgame, you know, other than, I guess, Thor, most of them are retired, or I guess Hulk is still around, but he was kind of out of commission at the end of Endgame. He's coming back, I guess, but yeah, I mean, that is a good way, I think, that they would be able to transition into their other big teams now that they have the rights back that they wanted back for so long.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. This could be the capper. Like after Endgame was like, all right, the core Avengers, most of them were gone, and this could be, you know, could lead into like Avengers versus X-Men, or who knows what, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Avengers versus X-Men, that big storyline was one of the big ones from the last, you know, 10, 15 years. So that fight could be the thing that brings them in here. You could have, obviously, the mutant component now is in there with them hunting Miss Marvel in her show. And I don't remember exactly what it was in the show, but they were saying there was like a nugget of the Sentinel program they could bring in now. You could have that with I forget what agency was in that show, but that agency could be
Department of Damage Control. That's what it was.
Thank you. Yeah. So that could be the precursor to the larger governmental organization that we see in X-Men, them hunting them. So that could be definitely pretty natural pivot point to the X-Men right there, right?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of X-Men stuff in Phase 6, and that's probably why they've kept it. They haven't really announced a lot of the other things other than the Avengers and Fantastic Four. It's because, you know, they got to save something for D23. They got to save something for the next couple of years of announcements, and that's the big one. That's one that everybody is waiting for. Is, as much as people love Fantastic Four and they're glad that they're back, the X-Men is what people have wanted to see. They've been hinting to it for a while. Obviously, they've been doing a lot of multiverse stuff, so that works really well with what is going to probably happen with Deadpool 3. That plays right into it, where they're like, oh, yes, this other universe over here. They did it with Spider-Man, where they brought in past movies. They can do it with the Deadpool and the other X-Men characters, and Days of Future Past, and all kinds of cool stuff that they could do, and do alternate. You know, they're doing the multiverse stuff, and that is going to play in perfectly to the multiverse, because those the X-Men movies that Fox made already make no sense, so they could just be like, yeah, those are a bunch of different multiverses. So yeah.
Yeah. Just like somebody was mentioning today, it was just like, yeah, the multiverse means now that like everything is included, everything is
Yeah.
canon. Just bring it in, be like,
Mhm.
how did he get here? Multiverse. Oh, okay. Where'd
Yeah.
that other guy go? Oh, I got sucked into the multiverse. Oh shit. Okay. He'll be back sometime when we open up the multiverse again. But yeah, it's like the could be like the Disney vaults of just like where did Kane go? Multiverse. Got stuck in his multiverse. Oh, okay. That's fine. Let's just bring him out when you need him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's get to some stuff I've been watching. I watched a whole bunch of stuff over this past week. Been catching up on a lot of older, not Cronenberg, Mr. Oh, I had his name right here. John Carpenter. I watched The Thing, obviously, a long time ago. Apparently, I didn't know this. He had made a trilogy of movies, starting with The Thing, called the Apocalypse Trilogy, which included The Thing in 1980, I believe, and then a movie called The Prince of Darkness from 1987. And other than Donald Pleasance, and we have Victor Wong, a whole bunch of other cast of people that I did not recognize, and for good reason, because they're terrible actors. This is a crazy like 80s B movie, just body horror, but like just low budget, low CG, bad CGI, bad acting. If you just want to throw on a bad movie, bad 80s horror movie, check out Prince of Darkness. It was not good really at all.
Okay.
The story
Okay.
yeah. Have you seen this?
I mean, just yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but Alan's actually been thinking about doing it on Underrated. So now I'm
Oh.
very curious. I don't think he's seen it. I think he was like going to do it sight unseen. So maybe we're going to be talking about a bad movie. Who knows here? He might have. I think he might have just seen a review and been like, "Oh yeah, I want to talk about this." So okay, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, Carpenter is real fucking hit or miss. Like he's
Yes.
obviously made some stone cold fucking classics. The Thing you
Yeah.
mentioned, Halloween. Um, and then there's some more culty stuff, like They Live, or even something like Starman is, I think, a
Yeah.
fucking cult classic. And then he makes some fucking bad movies, like Ghosts of Mars is
Mm,
garbage. Like nobody fucking likes Ghosts of Mars, you know?
yeah.
And that's like an interesting concept for a movie. They go to Mars and it's haunted, and I'm like, fucking okay, and it's just not interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go either way with Carpenter.
Yeah, I have maybe a controversial opinion, but I really didn't like Escape from New York. Like, it was just, what is this about? Fight choreography was terrible. The dialogue was terrible. Kurt Russell was like the only saving grace of that movie for me. Let me see what it has. It has a 3.6 on Letterboxd. A bunch of people really enjoyed it, but I was just like, what the fuck is this? This is so.
I actually haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
I'm yeah. It's like there's a lot more John Carpenter stuff I need to see. I haven't seen a lot of his. I haven't seen Big Trouble or like Precinct on or Assault on Precinct 13.
Mm.
So I do need to see a lot more of his stuff.
Yeah, I do too as well. I'm probably going to check out The Fog next. He did, They Live is another classic one with Roddy Piper, obviously, with that classic line, I'm all out of bubble gum, so I'm going to kick your ass, or whatever it was.
It's David, please. It's I'm here to do
Yes.
two things:
Yes,
kick
yes, yes.
ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
Sure, that. Great line. Let's see.
Yes.
Assault on Precinct 13. Vampires, I heard, was not great. Like you said, Ghost of Mars, not great. Dark Star, Village of the Damned, Body Bags, Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Whew. Yeah, a lot of that. Like Roger, he's like a student of Roger Corman. Just like, let me just make a movie for like $2 million. Not great cinematography, not great writing, but we'll just put it out there, and some people will like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, like, people hated The Thing when it came out, and
Mm,
that's why a big part of why he made Starman, Thing, which I think was 82 actually,
yeah.
because the studio's like, hey, make a movie about a nice alien. And he's like, all right, where's Jeff Bridges? Where's Karen Allen?
Yeah. Let's see. So I also checked out In the Mouth of Madness, his last movie in his Apocalypse trilogy, and this was pretty good. This was like a 90s Stephen King sort of take on his writing and the movies from then. You have Sam Neill, Julie Carmen, Charlton Heston, a bunch of people in this. A young Hayden Christensen was apparently in this, but he was hit a mask on or something. I didn't even recognize him. John Glover, who played Lex Luthor's father in the
Yes.
Smallville show. Yeah. Yeah,
I fucking love John. Like anytime he's just like a mad scientist or just
yeah.
like he's in some kind of cult movie, I'm like, okay, I'm fucking on board. Like even like when he's in a bad movie, like he's the fucking scientist in Batman and Robin, he's like, I made Bane, and you're like, I fucking love this guy.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me so I can pull up my review here. Let's see. What did I say? Yeah, John Carpenter gives off Exorcist 3 vibes. The set design, shot composition is very much like that. Sam Neill is great in this. It's very much like a Clive Barker with the weird like psychosexual horror, very much David Cronenberg, body horror with Breaking Bones and shit like that. Very creepy small town characters. Really, really great. Yeah, definitely better, much better in my opinion than Prince of Darkness.
Okay, I'm looking at this picture of Neil like on the letterbox, and he's just looking like with his ragged hair, and he's looking
Yeah.
directly into my soul. Like anytime you get an unhinged Sam Neill, that's a fucking win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, what was that other one? That other sci-fi movie? What
Oh,
is?
Event Horizon, which is a fucking
Yes.
terrible movie.
Is it
I know
bad?
people like
Oh
that movie.
no!
Oh,
Oh
I
no!
know people love that movie, but I
Yeah.
can't. I think it is just garbage. It is just like trying so hard to be edgelord in 2007. But like Sam Neill, where he's just like, can't you? He's like stabbed his own eyes out. He's like, can't you see? I'm like, man, Sam Neill, God bless you. You're like full in on this movie. That is not like no one else in that movie gave a shit, and
Yeah.
Sam Neill gave 1,000%.
So many people are in that. Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Kathleen Quinlan. What's the guy's name? Sean Pertwee? Who's that guy? Let me see his face. Oh yeah, okay, this guy. Yeah. I just remember being like, holy shit, hell! They sent a ship to hell. That was fucking crazy. I saw this when I was like 13. Scared the shit out of me, but I apparently have to go back and see it. See if it was actually as good as I remember it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
it was just I was just not enjoy that movie.
Right, right. It's got a 3.3 on Letterboxd. Seems like most people seem to enjoy it. So maybe I'll check back into it. I'll let you know what I think.
Okay, I feel like
Yeah.
it's one of those movies that people are like, yeah, you gotta watch this movie. No, people don't know about it. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, there's a reason for that.
Let me talk about one more thing, and then we can pivot over to what you've been watching. I watched the Fear Street movies from last year, released around Halloween time last year. Fear Street 94, 1978, and 1666, and these are pretty good. Pretty good. Like
Yeah,
I really liked that they, sort of went straight ahead with it. You also have a lot of people from Stranger Things. You have what's her name from the
Sadie Sink,
Sadie Sink and Ethan Hawke's
Ethan Hawke's
daughter.
daughter, Uma
Yeah,
Thurman's daughter, Maya Hawke.
Maya Hawke. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Really,
Yeah,
and it's just
she's she's in it surprisingly little. She gets killed
yeah,
like immediately. Spoilers for the first
yeah,
5 minutes of one of them. The second one,
yeah.
maybe I don't know.
The first one, the very first one, she's like
Her
she's
first one, okay.
in the mall, and she's one of the first victims of the thing. Yeah, really good. I liked it because it was like the anti-Scream. It was just a straight ahead, no nonsense,
Yeah.
no irony to it. It's just a great straight ahead like horror movie trilogy.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because they came out like back to back to back. They were almost like Netflix. I think Netflix playing with the form of like this is almost like a TV miniseries, but they are still distinct movies, and you know something that most you couldn't do this really in theaters. You couldn't do this on TV, and but they are Netflix, so they're able to experiment with the form so much that I think was really interesting. I thought the kind of way the story was told of like here's this like horror movie in the 90s and it's drawing on all these very 90s tropes, and here's this movie that's set in the 70s and this is drawing on all these 70s slasher tropes, like there's a very like Jason like camp, like the camp with the lake and stuff like that, and then
Yeah,
when it ends in this like the 1666 and it's very old timey. I thought conceptually it was very interesting. Really, really cool ideas, some very good acting. It was one of those things where it's like the parts are less, or the sum is less than all of the parts. Like there was really
yeah.
good parts in all these movies, and I enjoyed them, but it didn't really come together for me in the end. Where I was like, I enjoyed that. I watched it on a trip. I on like a road trip. I watched the first one, and then I watched the rest of them when I was driving back from like fucking Utah to California.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time on my hands. But yeah, they were fine. I this is granular, but I didn't really enjoy the idea that it didn't make a lot of sense to me that it was just the same actors in the third one. because I kind
Yeah.
of dug that it's like, oh, it's a new cast in the second one. And it's like, oh, it's just a recycled cast in the third one, and it kind of didn't make sense because like she knew the older version of Sadie Sink. She knew her when she was Bridget from Community, but whatever. So, but yeah, they were solid movies. I would say, if you're a horror fan, definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well said. Yeah, it was weird. I sort of took it as like the same actors were playing them, not great, but I took it as like they weren't those people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they
like
weren't all supposed to be related.
yeah, it was kind of weird because like I think the reasoning in it is like it's not actually what happened. She's like
Yeah,
seeing a vision and she's seeing the vision because to see the people that she knew. But I'm like, you didn't know Sadie Sink, so this
yeah,
makes no sense. Like that, it just there's little things, but I just would have liked if they would have kept the same like a new cast every movie because that was cool and unique. And I just kind of was a little upset they abandoned that. But yeah, overall, really, really just cool slasher movies that play with the tropes.
yeah, yeah. Really, very interesting that it's corresponding right now with a series that they're doing on Last Podcast on the Left. For my money, one of the best true crime podcasts out there. There's a billion of them, but if you just want to listen to one, definitely listen to that one. They're doing a series on the Salem witch trials right now, which I'm very familiar with. I grew up in Western Mass, but it seems like every year we would take a trip out there to Salem. It's basically like a tourist town now. But yeah, very, very, very cool. Very interesting sort of, what'd you call it? Very weird reference that it's, they did the 1666 thing now, and I'm also listening to the, Salem witch trials as well. So very
Yeah,
weird
there's really
syncopation there.
there's a season of Unobscured on the San Luis Trials. Do you ever listen to Unobscured?
Is that the one with, the guy that did lore?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really interesting because it's his more long form one, and I think it's the second season that is on the Witch Trials. I
Yeah.
think the first or the second season is one of the early ones. So it's very interesting to get these deep dives, and he has all these historians that come on, stuff like that. So I'd highly recommend Unobscured to anyone who is a fan of lore, or of these kind of more historical, I guess, quote unquote, true crime things. But it's a lot. So I think it's a lot deep. I'm not a huge true crime guy, but this kind of like historical, kind of supernatural adjacent long form stories really interest me on that show.
Yeah, very cool. Definitely check that out. So let's pivot to some stuff you've been watching. I watched Fire of Love, the documentary out right now by, it says Sarah Dosa. Who did the, Miranda July did the voiceover, correct?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is the documentary. It's by Nat Geo right now, and it's about the volcanologist Katya and Maurice Croft, who are, for people who don't know what a volcanologist is, it's people who go and check out volcanoes, and they were very active from like the 70s to the early 90s. And this is not a spoiler because this is in the trailer, and it also is a thing that happened famously in real life is they die. And so really interesting movie about these two people who is this portrait of these people who are in love and doing this really interesting work and in a truly unique situation. And it's almost like, oh, what if Wes Anderson made a documentary? It has
Yeah.
that sign like this quirkiness to it, and the people are kind of quirky, but the way it's filmed and they has it interspersed with these kind of like little animated moments and things like that are very cool. And it's just kind of just like a Wes Anderson movie. This is very funny and very heartwarming, but also very very sad at the same time. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the better docs that I've seen in a while. Probably my favorite doc that I've seen in a theater in a couple of years. Uh, but yeah, it's just 97 minutes. So it's a quick one. You can, it's not all encompassing. You don't have to know a ton about volcanoes to get into it, but it does have some really cool information on that, on science, and just kind of the differences between a pyroclastic volcano and a lava flow volcano and all these different, or red and gray volcanoes as they're sometimes called in the movie. So yeah, I really recommend this, and it's cool to see just these people get the respect. This is not the first doc that's been done about them. Werner Herzog did a documentary a couple of years back, but I think
Right.
this really kind of captures this unique love story that happened between these two people that, have done a lot of good for the world.
Nice, nice. Yeah, this is an example of a movie that I really want to see. It's unfortunately not playing around here. Probably will never play around here. But yeah, I really, really want to hear it. I really want to see this. I've heard nothing but the best about it. One of the ones I really, really want to see this year, whenever that finally hits VOD. And you also checked out another movie that is not playing around here, entitled Vengeance.
Yes, yes. So luckily enough, I do live in a market where these things open. After a couple weeks, they come out of LA. They make their way down here a little bit to Orange County, right outside the LA periphery. But yeah, this is BJ Novak's directorial debut. It is a movie about, and don't take this personally,
Hmm.
about how he plays a New York-based white podcaster slash writer who is the worst fucking person in the world.
Ah,
And it's just kind of saying like it's interesting. It's very darkly funny. He does feel like kind of an extension of a Ryan Howard character that he played on The Office, a more fleshed out version, albeit though. And it is kind of has all these interesting questions about, recording and documenting things and what is the point of the stories we are telling, and how do we change things with the stories we're telling. And it is very, very critical, I feel like, of the true crime podcasts, and how there is a reason I'm not really into true crime, and that is this kind of, I think that there are some moral quandaries I have with it, but I also hate fucking how every um true crime documentary ends with "Who's the real monster, this murderer or you for listening to a podcast?" And it's just, fuck
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it has, I think it has kind of some mixed metaphors when it comes to, or a mixed message, not even that, just kind of mixed messages with what it is trying to say
Hmm.
about, like, is it a good thing or a bad thing about these things that we document, because there's some characters that that kind of like say things that you're like, oh, are you really insightful, or are you awful? Are you both? Is it a mix? Like,
Yeah.
because everything you were saying earlier makes a lot of sense, but also you seem to be horrible. So it's good. I enjoyed watching it. It's not a movie I would probably go back to. I have been thinking about it a little bit the past few days, but yeah, you know, if you like BJ Novak's comedy style, you'll
Hmm.
enjoy it. If you're a big, I mean, it really, me also being a coastal, like white podcaster writer, I was like, all right, what is this movie trying to say about me?
Right.
But yeah, it's fine. It's very much like you're not really missing too much by not playing
Yeah.
around you, Damien.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I might still check it out. Probably be on some people's
Yeah,
list of the best stuff this
yeah.
year. So yeah. You were saying
It's
how
no
about?
Miss Harris Goes to Paris.
Oh.
That's if
Oh.
you're gonna get something limited, that's much more heartwarming.
Okay. You were saying how it's a movie about how we capture things, how we commoditize, pain, trauma, and true crime and stuff like that. I just use that to pivot to some stuff I've been reading. One of them was a book called Headful of Ghosts by Paul Trembly, and it is essentially a really good exorcism story, but it's also about how, like you said, they commodify trauma and pain, and because it starts off with the parents taking the daughter. It's from the perspective of the younger daughter, Mary. The parents take the older daughter, Magdalene, to a therapist and doctors and things like that. And they're not sure what's wrong with her. Eventually, it's just revealed, obviously, she's possessed because she's throwing up a lot and talking in tongues and just weird welter or springing up on her skin. Weird, gross stuff you expect in a exorcism movie. And about halfway through, I think like a film crew caught wind of the story somehow, and so they start setting up inside the house, documenting their entire life, and it really does get into, like you said, about what are we trying to gain by putting these people on
Mhm.
film and selling their story, and putting them out into the world without very much context or, you know, wanting those people capturing the footage don't really want her to get help. They want her, like, there's a part in the story where the demonic activity starts to recede, and they're like, we need content. We need stuff going on. We need some snappy dialogue. We need some poppy, cool, demonic stuff so we can sell this. And the family's just like, I don't know what to tell you. Nothing's happening. We don't want this. So they're like watching TV, and they're like, well, comment on the stuff on the TV. And they're like, I don't know what to say. So it does get into a lot of the stuff you're talking about in Vengeance. Highly recommend Headful of Ghosts. And I'll go quickly through some of the stuff. Bill Hodges Trilogy by Stephen King I went through. The stuff that people write, when they write tech stuff, because I'm not expert in tech, but I use it a lot. So when somebody says like they're on the run from the CIA or another government agency, and they're hiding their track using a VPN, I'm like, my tech radar goes off, and I'm like, that's not a thing you would use to hide from anybody. I barely can hide my torrent activity with my fucking VPN. So you're definitely not going to hide from a government agency using it. No. Do a little better research, Stephen King, please. But overall, Bill Hodges Trilogy, really, really great detective stories there. Also connects with The Outsider. I believe that was one of his most recent works, and it was also made into an HBO miniseries. So that's pretty cool. One book I really didn't like, and I want to talk about why I didn't like it, because it's like a very pervasive thing I'm seeing more and more of, and people are making fun of it on TikTok a lot, which is a book called The Kaiju Preservation Society, written by John Scalzi, and it was narrated by Will Wheaton, and I like all those people, and it's there's this genre of TikToks right now where the guy is doing a series of them and doing like, humor in superhero movies and millennial humor and stuff like that, where it's like, somebody will get hit by something like, oh boy, that really hurt, that really smarted, oh boy, aliens and demonic activity, oh boy, what a day, shit like that. And it's very, very much that sort of humor, which is very, it's very cringy. I was doing that shit when I was younger, and I can look back on it and be like, oh boy, somebody should have told me to shut the fuck up much earlier. Because it's, they go to this place where the kaiju still exist, and one of them is just like, is that a what? Is that a who? Is that what I think it is? And it's just like, stop with the funny, every second there's like a funny quip coming out of somebody's mouth. And also, if you can have characters in your book, like one or two of them be the funny guy, but when everybody's doing it, it's not great. So maybe avoid that. I don't know. If you're a kid, 10 to 12.
I'll steer clear.
Yeah, if you're like a kid growing up, maybe that's in your wheelhouse still. But yeah, if you're older, maybe not. Maybe skip that. Okay. But lastly, I want to talk about my favorite book of the year so far. I read 50 of them, so that is saying something. The book is called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. It's essentially about game designers in the early to mid 90s who sort of have a runaway hit on their hands, and sort of they have to essentially make a sequel to that. They one of the designers, when she was in college, she got into a relationship with her college professor, and it was very one-sided. The power dynamics of something like that was out of whack, and the professor was very abusive to her emotionally and physically and sexually. So at one point she's making the game, and some of the code's not working, and she wants a better lighting tech or sound tech or something like that. And she realizes she has to go back to her professor, who she broke up with, and has to go to him and ask him for some of his lighting tech from his older games. And so it's this thing where it's about compromising your values, compromising morals, compromising your own safety and security to make a game, again, to put something on the world, to commodify your artistry, to to compromise your values and morals and things like that. So really, really great book. Also about one of the characters is disabled. He was in a car accident when he was a kid. So his foot has been sort of slowly over time degrading, and the bones are fragmenting, and so he's had to have operations throughout his life. And so it's very much about how disabled people move about the world, and how the world is not designed or built for them. So there's a lot of really, really cool, very interesting things going on in this book, and it's one of my favorites of the year so far. So definitely check out Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Very good.
Nice. That reminds me. Did you watch oh my gosh, what's the show called? It's the guys who made It's Always Sunny. their video game show.
Oh yeah, on
And
Apple TV Plus.
yes, Mythic Quest.
Mythic
And
Quest,
there
yeah.
is this great. You watch it at all?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, well, there's this really great standalone episode in the first season that doesn't really, it very tangentially connects to things going on. It's mostly just thematically connected to it, but it tells a very similar story, since it is just like in a very abridged form, but of these two kind of game developers who meet and have this kind of romance, and they have this indie hit, and what does that mean? And just kind of, them, are they going to have to give up their morals for success and stuff like that, and just the slow decay of their morals. And it's really interesting. Even if you don't watch Mythic Quest, it's
Yeah.
just called Slow Dark Death. And I would really recommend everybody check it out because it works absolutely on its own. Really very poignant. It's Jake Johnson and Kristen Melody from How I Met Your Mother and
Hmm.
Palm Springs are the
Yeah.
kind of couple in it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's really heartfelt and emotional and great.
Nice. Definitely check that out. Yeah, I heard that's a really good episode. I heard the one they did at the very beginning of the pandemic was also really good. It was a sort of a
Yeah, yeah,
cap
yeah,
battle episode, right? That was very good as well.
yeah. That one's really good. And then there's one where it dives in season two. It dives back into the history of F. Murray Abraham's character and kind of being a young upcoming, like he's kind of this burnt out science fiction writer in the show, and then him kind of like being like a kid on the writing scene, idolizing like Oscar uh, Asimov and all these guys, just like and Ursula Le Guin and all these people in the early '70s, and him getting his start and stuff like that. So that's another really good episode. And William Hurt shows up in. There's like a follow-up episode that's set in the present day where you see where all these characters are at, and William Hurt plays the older version of his friend in that. So yeah, I would really check. Those are probably my two favorite episodes. Are the one Slow Dark Death, and then the F. Murray Abraham prequel episode.
Nice, very cool. Just a few more things I want to talk about before we get out of here. This Friday, one of the movies I've been looking forward to the most this year debuted at Sundance this year in January, like 8 months ago now. Finally getting around to they're releasing Resurrection. The Andrew Simmons, can't be Siemens, got Semans. His movie with Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth is finally coming out to VOD this Friday. One of the big movies I've been looking forward to this year is coming out on Friday, so definitely check that out. And then a couple of other things I've watched. Really recommend Triangle. If anybody's into really good, well-made time loop movie, definitely check out Triangle, directed by Christopher Smith. It's the only person in this I really recognized was Liam Hemsworth, young Liam Hemsworth. This movie was made in 2009. It's kind of incredible. It's about a woman who goes onto a fishing boat or a sailboat, and a sailboat capsizes, and they flag down a massive cruise liner, and they go on top. They go into the cruise liner, and the main character is like, I feel like I've been here before. This looks really familiar, and it just escalates from there. Very interesting, very interesting way that they sort of use the time loop premise there. And that was recommended to me because I checked out Time Crimes. Yeah, Time Crimes from 2007. I believe it was a Spanish language movie directed by, what's the guy's name here? Nacho Vigalondo. Something like that, not sure. Very good. Again, very good. Simple. It probably costs $50,000 if that. Just the guy sees something going on in the woods behind his house. Treks out there to see what's going on, and then happens upon a giant laboratory apparently that he never saw before, right next to his house. Goes in there. He's like, "Hey, what's going on? I saw this guy over here, and he shot a gun. And I saw this naked woman. What's going on?" And he's like. The scientist is like, I can't explain. No time to explain. Of course, jump into this giant machinery thingy and just wish you luck. Goodbye. And the guy pops out, and things escalate from there. So, Time Crimes, great time loop movie. Do you have a favorite time loop movie? And is it the one I'm thinking of?
I mean, there's two, I think, contenders.
Yes.
Palm Springs is fucking phenomenal. So that one is up there. But like Groundhog's Day, like this is an entire genre
Sure.
that exists because of Groundhog's Day. Like
Yeah.
it's Groundhog's Day is a perfect movie. I think it's Ivan Reitman's best film. He's an incredible
Yeah.
director, obviously. But yeah, it is so funny. Like Bill Murray is incredible in it. There's a reason these movies all exist and this template exists because it did it so successfully that you can how can you not love Groundhog Day? But if you look but as far as like the best movie to recreate that, I think, and give it a bit of a unique twist, I think was Palm Springs.
Palm
Were
Springs,
either of
yeah.
those the movies you were thinking of?
Well, see, here's the thing. I mean, because Groundhog Day and Palm Springs, right? They're
Mhm.
they're not time loop movies, right? Because they stop at a certain point and reset. Time loop movies would be like the one I was thinking of was Primer from 2004, because those movies are actual time loop because they loop on top of themselves, and if they go back in time to the same spot and then they see their previous selves doing doing the thing they did the day before, right? So Groundhog
Okay,
Day,
I will say you have a very specific definition of time loop that I do not think the rest of the internet casts. Because if you
well,
say time loop movie, they will say Groundhog Day.
it
Because it's
it
still running in a
is.
loop. He still goes back to the beginning of the day, you
He
know?
goes back to the beginning of the day, but nobody else does. Like no, like because there's two different configurations. Because I'm trying to think of anything else you might have seen. Because Triangle does it, Primer does it. Because that these movies, because there's hold on, there's Groundhog Day that resets everything. Resets, he resets, and nothing else is affected in the world. With Primer and with Triangle and with Time Crimes, what happens is he's he remembers everything that's happened already, but there's other people. He interacts with himself and other people, and he can sort of like get into that cog. Like there's the whole cog of the thing that is repeating, that is the time loop, but also we have those also the second mechanic on top of that, which is the main character can then interact with that loop. With Groundhog Day, there was no Bill Murray doesn't interact with the loop. He is the loop. He is his character and everyone around him just reset after he goes to sleep or dies, right? But in Primer and in Triangle, not to spoil anything, but there's a point at which the world around her resets, but there's like consequences to her actions that are left on the field. You know what I mean? If that makes
Okay,
any sense.
I get what you mean, but I feel like that is way too specific of a distinction to be like, well, this isn't a time loop movie because, I mean, look at a loop. If you
It
put
is.
Damian, put a fucking
Yeah.
hula hoop on the ground, it's a circle. It doesn't go back in on itself, you know?
But these do. Triangle does. Like there's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's called a hula hoop, and it doesn't go in on itself. You know, so if you
but
like want
hula
to use
hoops,
a loop,
there's no
that's a
reset to
loop
the
right there.
there's no reset point in a hula hoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just okay. Well,
Well,
I think we're just being too.
Groundhog Day, yeah, it resets. So there's not a it's not a loop. It's like a off ramp. It's an
Damien,
off ramp of
this is a ridiculous take you have right now. I'm just gonna say this. This is a
okay,
ridiculous take.
okay,
Groundhog's
okay.
Day is not a time loop movie. Like, I'm sorry, like that
Yeah,
is insane to me.
yes, okay, but there, yeah, okay. What was I gonna say? Let's see. What else have I seen? I think that was about it. Anything else you've seen in the past few days you want to mention that we haven't mentioned yet? Anything you're looking forward to over the weekend? Any movies you're gonna see?
I'm gonna see Bullet Train.
Ah,
That's the
yes, yes,
last
yes.
real movie of the summer. That's the last big release. It's always cool to see original IP. Like Nope was. So it'll be. I'm curious to see how well it does. I actually finally got around to watching a movie I've been meaning to watch for a long time, which is Summertime, David Lean movie
Oh yeah.
from 1955. I'm really like David Lean obviously is best known for his big sweeping epics like, Lawrence of Arabia, Bridge on
Yeah.
the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago, but like Dr. Zhivago, he also does really, really amazing love stories about these kind of tragic lovers, and Brief Encounter is one of my favorite films ever. And this is another kind of brief encounter film. It was recommended to me when I was on another podcast. And I checked it out, and it was really bad. Like it was like the guy, the male love interest was fucking borderline rapey. Like, and
Oh,
I get he was like, oh, he's an Italian and it's the 50s, but still, it was like, oh my God, like there was no chemistry.
yeah,
Katharine Hepburn was great, and it looked incredible because it was just David Lean shooting in Venice for an
yeah.
hour and a half. But man, like there was no chemistry between these characters. Like it was just like the whole. I'm surprised Katharine Hepburn's back didn't break from carrying this fucking movie.
That's incredible. Yeah, I definitely got to see Brief Encounters. I was actually looking at that the other day. I was looking for like short movies to watch in the morning before I go to bed. That was one of them.
Yeah,
Like one of the best ones that
yeah.
was brought up in terms of like best movies you should see that are under 90 minutes. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
pretty solid. I mean, it's not very solid, but
No,
like I
yeah.
love a solid, like under 90-minute movie. I just wish this one would have been better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool. So I think that'll about wrap it up. So yeah, I'm on Medium Blog. I'm doing a bunch of blogging pretty much for every movie I've seen now. So check that out at damian.sherman.medium.com, on Letterboxd, B for Benedetta on there, Film Essayist on YouTube. Go to Anchor for a way to make podcasts, and check out all the interviews I've done this year, most recently with Mr. Cinematech. What you got to plug?
Yeah, so check out my other podcast, Underrated, where, as you might guess, we talk about underrated films. I do that with my friends Alan and Ariel. There's a new episode every other week, so the same day that this show comes out, we have a new episode of Underrated. Today, for my birthday, we did one of my favorite movies ever, Where the Wild Things Are. So, check us out, Undercast Company. Look us on all the socials. Look up Underrated, however you're listening to this, and you'll get that. And just people who are listening, do us a favor, write into bicycle@gmail.com and
Yes.
tell us, is Groundhog Day a time loop movie?
Well,
I looked up Wikipedia. I look up the list. Here, I'm gonna send
yeah.
you this list
Okay, go
right
ahead.
now,
Yeah,
Damian. We could finish this off the air, but
we
a list
can.
of time loop movies.
Yeah, they are.
And yeah, so
Okay.
I want to hear what the people have to say on this issue because maybe I'm wrong. I've wrong
Yeah.
before. That's for sure. But
The
we'll see. We'll see.
the sticking point, right? I'll just say this one more thing. The sticking point is, right, you haven't seen Primer, correct?
I haven't seen Primer. I need to watch Primer,
Yeah.
but
Primer, Triangle, or Time Crimes. There's once you watch those, you'll be like, oh, okay, there is a distinction between that and
is
Groundhog Day.
Looper so would Looper fit into your very specific category of time loop movies?
Well, it's not. No, see, well, the problem is when you say time loop. Okay, you got Groundhog Day, right? And I think we need to make a bucket. We have two buckets, right? We have a bucket with
Okay.
Groundhog Day that resets, and we need to have a separate bucket with time loop movies that do not reset, where the consequences of the person doing the things in the time loop, they're around. They're still around. It's sort of like Super Mario Brothers, but you would have dead Goomba bodies scattered throughout the entire level, where they keep stacking.
So, okay,
Yes.
so every time you go back to the beginning of the level, all right. So but it's the same Goomba, right? So
There's
is
more
that the is
Goombas.
that
There's more Goombas
the
being
different
generated.
Goombas? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Primer right now, so I know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay. So, anyways, for Can I Say Something, episode 144, I have been Damian.
I've been Derick.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.